Okay, welcome to chapter 2. This is where we left off from chapter 1, and from here we're gonna render his face out more. So let's start with around the eyes socket. I usually like to start it there and kind of define even more value on the side of the nose bridge and underneath the eyes. So on the side we define the shape of the nose a little more, and I would say the more you practice drawing the face, the better. And sometimes you could have reference on the side to look at for lighting purpose, to look at where the lights hit and where the shadow fall. It's not necessary that you have to make it look exactly like your reference. Your reference sometimes could be just reference for the light, and then you can just play around with the shape or the everything. You tweak it. It's kind of like you're making a caricature of a person or something like that. So it's also a good idea if you don't have enough experience to just come up with the face and things like that. But even though you have a lot of experience, it still helps to have some reference laying around and things like that. It even be good if painting, if it's a painting or things in that nature. So now I'm kind of trying to rounding out the rough edges of the the value. It's kind of like thinning out more. As you can see, like on the lower part of the face is now it's got a little more structured. It's got a little more kind of like scalping, rounding up feel to it. And sometimes you see like the soft edge, which is the color kind of blend together, and the hard edge, which is the color is kind of a very different value that you can totally distinguish it. Like this part that I'm doing right here is sort of like within the dark itself. I'm trying to lay out like from the chin to the neck. Usually sometimes it can become a problem because sometimes it has closer value together and sometimes it doesn't. But usually you don't really see a lot of hard edge between the jaw part and the neck part. But on the chin part, sometimes you kind of do, like between the chin and the neck, you see that's a hard edge because those objects are not together. They're kind of separate. And now I'm trying to define the lower part of the chin, which is have some kind of shadow, and it's look like it's kind of gonna fall into the part that is not part of the chin. So I'm gonna have to lighten up the shadow a little bit. There you go. And now I'm trying to rounding up the side of his face and the nose. I'm giving some mass to the nose and some I'm going to the eye and redefine it. Like as you can see when I paint face or things like that, I'm just looking all over the place and trying to finish everything up all together, like pulling everything out together instead of like trying to finish one thing, because that way you can maintain the overall value of the whole object that you're painting. Just kind of like keep painting it and things like that. Add some earrings and maybe add some additional costume to it, just kind of random, more plate, so he look even a little more powerful. There you go. And add some kind of little fake shadow or lighting on the metal plate. Then I merge and then make a copy. So now I'm using dodge tool, highlight, and kind of like bringing out some light using 30%, bringing out some light to the face and overall lighting and things like that. Don't overdo it. Just use it to get some value of his face and use that value and paint it over again. It's not the final mean tool. It's like when you want to find something and then you can go and tweak it. But on metal is very useful because it can have like a really light effect. The more exposure or the opacity or the dodge tool you have, the brighter the color is going to get. Like as you can see now, it's kind of look sort of indicate of a really rough painting of a metal because of the dodge tool. So now I'm going back to the brush using a regular round. As of now, I have only been using round brush, soft and hard. I haven't used any special brush at all, and it still come out fine. It's, you know, you can pretty much do a lot of things with it. All the principle are pretty much the same, sort of. Whatever brush you use doesn't really matter. You can pull it off. I mean, most of the brushes that have texture, it has a purpose, like saving you time or things like that. But it's not the ends mean of like, hey, this brush is gonna make my art looks cooler than the others. Yeah, sometimes I use the round brush and it looks better than the art that I do and have like a rough brush. What matters is the value that you put into the object, and how, if it's correct or if it's awesome, then it will be awesome. You know, it's not the texture, it's not the brush, it's not everything else. You just have to, you know, combine everything together, use them smartly, and the principle are pretty much the same. So now I'm putting highlight on his nose, on the edge between his upper lips and the face, and usually the bottom lips also receive the light. Highlight, and like, you know, either pick one of the eyebrows, top the eyebrows that receive the light, as you can see over right here. And you know, his forehead of course received the light, but the nose is usually have the most of the highlight because it's kind of like poking out the most. It's a lot more contrast object. And now I'm going in and trying to refine his lips a little more. During over the year that I've painted and do tutorial, I got a little bit faster and faster, and on this tutorial I can, like, compared to the older ones, I spent only maybe 30 to 40 minutes and it came out like how I wanted, rather like, you know, a year ago I spent like an hour and sometimes I didn't even get what I want. So it's a matter of practice. The more you do, the better you get. And sometimes thanks to you guys too that support Idol Girls, that, you know, come and watch and give feedback and stuff like that. So, and sometimes it kind of helped me when I explain things to try to understand things, so it's helped me become a better artist also. And now I'm just kind of painting the side of the skull and doing the hairline sort of, and I'm going in and fixing the armor and stuff. And here we go. Just compare the old one to the new ones. So now we have almost finished render phase. We just need to tweak things here and there a little bit, and then we should be fine. And now I'm just going to add some, you know, really using soft brush and adding some dark to the atmosphere to kind of like bring out together the face and make the background look like it's has some depth or something like that. And I'm gonna use the texture brush to erase some of the black, so to make it, you know, maybe some dusk in the air or something. There you go. So now here we have sort of a background using the really soft brush, low opacity, and paint over the character. So I merge it down, make a copy. Yep. And compare it to the old, it looks good. So anyway, so now the face kind of like coming together there. And then we're going back to the default round brush and tweak it a little more, adding some like darker dark in there, as you can see. Trying to use the darker darks on a certain part, like you use the dark and light sometime, you know, on a certain spot, and just have to like kind of maintain the value and not using it all over the place. Like some of the place has the value that is supposed to be there, and some of the place you can't really push it further. Give him some scar on the eyebrows on top, just make him look a little rougher. You know, sometimes your ideas just come and goes without planning, just kind of go with the moment. And now I'm adding some lighting onto the top of, you know, his eyes and underneath the eyebrows. And adding some darker value onto the, you know, on the side of the nose bridge. right there. And on the bottom of the nose, on the side, I'm trying to create the shape or the form that make it look like the nose is kind of rounding up with the side. So there could be like the change of plane from the nose to your face. It has the edge like right here. And now tweaking the chin a little bit more, adding some line. Yeah, this guy would fit into some kind of fantasy world character design. He would be like some tough dude or something. Not necessarily the main character, but you could also use it as the main character. It depends on what your storyline or what the backstory is. It looked tough enough. And the more important things when you design faces, make the facial structure looks kind of interesting. You know, have something to sort of play around with. And maybe you can look at some, photo of interesting people and tweak it from there, or any kind of athlete or movie stars, things like that. And sometimes you can even mix pieces up together, like combining the face of this guy and that guy, and or tweak it from some guy that you think have a really cool face that could be in my character and things like that. So now it's almost there. The value is there. Now you have all pretty much most of the basic value right there. All you have to do is kind of clean it up and go from there. And now I'm trying to define a shadow on his neck a little bit. Painting takes time, so be patient. The more you do, the better you get. And sometimes if you go one painting is not successful, then do another one. It's okay. Just your purpose is to try to get better, not just like spending all the time in one piece and that's gonna be my masterpiece. Just do a lot of them, and sometimes you succeed, sometimes you don't. It's okay. Give it a lot of try and watch a lot of tutorial, and trying to watch it more than once, and you picked up some things here and there, and I always learn more things, and I always trying to apply more things to people. Like most of the tutorial, like I have a different method of doing things. Like on this one, usually on the facial construct, I'll use, when I try to establish the value in the beginning, I'll use like multiply or overlay. But on this one, I'm just showing you how to use the really basic principal value, and trying to get that from just not using any extra layer at all, just normal layer. It's all about knowing the principle and apply it to your painting, things like that. So now I'm just kind of like tweaking the minor things, adding some dark to the corner of the lips. That's really important too. And there you go. So now we have a little more contrast here and there. And look at it from distance. Now it looks pretty done up almost. And now the shadow underneath the nose. So yeah, it's all the existing value that I keep over there, and then I also add little more darker light to the spot. There you go. So I add some depth to the skin over the eyes, adding some light to it, so it has some kind of depth. I saw that's a little too big of a lighter part. And trying to tweak minor things. Notice the people's face. Go to live drawing and kind of draw in a long session, and you can use reference. And now some lighter part to the corner of the eyes, and some lighter part to the nose, bottom of the nose, and things like that. Just kind of tweaking minor things and kind of blend them together, things like that. So now it looks like a face, and sometimes your brush stroke could, if it's right, sometimes you leave it. But sometimes it's kind of like you go in and you experiment with a bunch of stuff. And now I'm rounding up the cheekbone and things like that, but it still sort of look strong, but now he look a lot more organic rather than stylized. It almost look realism, but it's still like I want to kind of maintain it like a painting or a concept design. Adding some darker part to the eyes, on the side of the eyes a little bit. There you go. And you can also add like a little tiny squibbly line, adding some more stuff to his lips. And now I'm adding more stuff on the side of the face, kind of like making it darker so it has some depth and things like that. And darker eyelash on the top. Should I do that, or should I? Sometimes you have to think. He has a darker eyelash now. Since everything is getting darker, so I have to like pull everything darker together. And his eye is gonna get left out, so I have to add a darker value onto his eye. It's kind of like work overall. I look at the overall, and if you apply some darker value, then see where you want to bring out. You also add some darker value to the piece that you want to bring out also. And now cleaning up value around the nose. As you can see, I just picked the color from the existing place and just kind of apply it over there. There you go. So now we're almost there. Okay, so the value and everything is set in the character. Most of it, the face looks nice enough that we can actually, it's almost finished. Sometime in the midway I'll just apply color, but this one I just want to show you on the tutorial that you can work all the way to almost a finished face. Like you can look right here or right there, and then after that you can apply value, but the color or the hue. So now I'm making some tweaks, some change to the eyebrows, and when you add the hue or the color over the overlay layers, or sometimes use multiply also, you still have to go in and change and repaint whatever that you apply. But here we go. This is the end of chapter 2. You refine the face and using value to everything to this point. So I round up certain things, but it still have a lot of squiggly line and stuff, and then we'll finish up by adding some color and clean up the paint and make it look nice and clean. In the next chapter I'm going to show you how to apply the skin tone and applying color temperature and some tweaking of the color and things like that, and then make things look nice and neat and good, and then your art director will be pleased, or you can put the piece in your new portfolio or something. Alright, I'll see you in chapter 3. Bye bye.